Hey guys! So this section of my website is gonna be a little different from the other sections. First and foremost, hi, my name is Emily. I'm the creator of this website. This is the culmination of my master's degree, so I hope that shows. The reason why the Phantom of the Opera section has a series of videos is kind of twofold. One, this really is the seed from which the rest of the project grew, and therefore I wanted to do something a little bit more personal and special for it. The second being that there's a lot I want to say in regards to Phantom of the Opera and the use of allusions through it, with it, and around it. And I think it would be easier and more engaging for both me and you, my user, hello, to see a video instead of reading another series of text-based pages with images. Not that those aren't fun, and I had a lot of fun creating those, but even those, as you can tell with some of them, I put videos on to help reinforce and or make the point, because I want to keep this website kind of more engaging. So my history with Phantom of the Opera was kind of a convoluted one. As it seems to be when I first interact with a story I don't like, it takes about 3 times for me to actually get to like it, and that kind of happened here. The first time I was introduced to the story, a friend showed it to me when I was in high school, and we watched the 2004 Gerard Butler version. That is not the version to start with. Don't watch that version as your introduction to Phantom of the Opera. You won't like the story. I like it now that I actually like the story and can ignore some of the bad parts, like the fact that Gerard Butler can't sing in a role where the character is known for his singing. But it's not the place to start. And so I didn't like it, and I thought it was weird, and the relationship felt like cradle robbing, and she was a teenager, and he's like 40, and this is gross, and so after a couple of years, I ended up seeing it on stage finally, and was like, ugh, okay, fine. And I walked away from the show absolutely floored. I loved it. I was a techie in high school, so I just marveled at the technical aspects of it. The set changes, the costumes, the chandeliers. I love music. I have no skill in music. Love it anyways. And the music from Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber, from here on out, I'm just going to call him Sir Andy in these videos because it's easier for me. His music is actually haunting. It does get in your head, and it does have that power that Phantom of the Opera, the man and the show, is known for. So I saw it once, I saw it twice, I bought the book, I got fixated on it for a reason I'm going to get into in a moment. I bought the book again so that instead of my notes being screaming at Raoul for being immature and annoying, they can actually be kind of academic. And then I bought the show, and I bought the 2004 movie as well. Clearly, I had an obsession, and I got my fix in all the ways. But part of the obsession that I got hooked on, especially after acquiring multiple versions of the same media format, was the use of allusion in Phantom of the Opera. See, in the novel, there's no overarching allusion to Faust, and I get into that in a video down below a bit more in depth, but essentially this is the story from which, or it is the opera within the novel from which Christine makes her debut, from which she gets kidnapped, from which the Phantom both represents a Faustinian and Mephistophelian character. It is baked into the plot and narrative of this novel. It is thematically relevant. It is resonant for the characters. Faust is a great overarching allusion for this story, not only in how Faust as a character from the myth and lore and legends help you understand Eric and his mindset in this story, but it also predicts the ending of the story based off of the Faust legend you get into, and again, that's in the video down below. But like, that's the point that I'm making here, is that this allusion is so baked in to the story that it's jarring on reflection to recognize that Sir Andy's version completely chucks it out the window. Faust is nowhere to be seen. Instead, we get Hannibal, the Carthaginian general. And from a really interesting perspective, mind you, because as inheritors, Western civilization, as inheritors of Roman history and Roman culture, Hannibal of Carthage is kind of the boogeyman for Rome. He was one of Rome's greatest enemies. Carthage was one of their greatest threats. And so the perspective that Sir Andy creates in the musical is counterintuitive, knowing that. And knowing that we are ancestors and inheritors of the Roman prejudice against Hannibal. Because in the musical, the show starts off with this fake opera, Hannibal by Shaw Yumo, that Sir Andy had to make up, whereas Gaston Leroux, who wrote the novel, had like 5 different versions of Faust operas he could pull from. Sir Andy created a Hannibal opera from the point of view of the Carthaginians. They blatantly state that he's there to, quote, save them from the enslaving force of Rome. They're celebrating his return, importantly his return at the 11th hour. This is him coming back to Carthage before his battle with Scipio Africanus. And that's important for reasons you can see in the Hannibal video down below. And so Sir Andy essentially removes the Faust illusion and puts in the Hannibal one, but it still works in all the ways the Faust one did. You still have Christine's debut being from this Hannibal show with Think of Me. It's still thematically relevant. It's still resonant for the characters. It still describes Christine's relationship with the Phantom in the song Think of Me. It still predicts the ending of the novel. If you know the ending of the Second Punic War and what happens to Hannibal, you can pretty much figure out what's going to happen to Eric with this story. Once you realize that Christine is posited as this love interest singing to a fleeing Hannibal. So Sir Andy took out the Faust illusion and very well and appropriately put in a new one with Hannibal. But that still doesn't necessarily explain why. Like, what was the point of chucking out something that was already in the text and then having to do all the work of replacing it with your own idea? And the point is, and why I wanted to make a website on illusions specifically and focus on how powerful they can be, is because by changing the illusion from Faust to Hannibal, from the point of view of the Carthaginians who see him as their hero, Sir Andy was able to reorient the way we, the audience member, view Eric, the Phantom. Not as a Faustinian, already damned kind of character that you can sympathize with, but ultimately you know and you don't really want him to succeed because he hasn't proved he deserves it or that he would appreciate it. To this underdog anti-hero character fighting against an established dominating order who can present a legitimate alternative to who is being fought over, i.e. Christine. And again, I get into that more in the Hannibal video later, but like the point is, just by switching this one illusion, Sir Andy was completely able to reorient the Phantom's character without getting rid of any of his actual character traits. Because in both versions of the text, he's still smarter than essentially everybody he deals with. In both versions of the text, he's still a master in a variety of fields. In both versions of the text, he's still the boogeyman haunting everybody above ground that's causing a panic. Like, it's the same guy. But by changing this illusion, we've now put him in a place where you can empathize with him and you can root for him more so than you ever could in the novel. And that is the power of illusions as this database of information and reference points for our cultural consciousness. It's a way to reorient a text and a character and a situation that, depending on the illusion you put in there, can completely change how we, the reader or the audience member or the user or the player, understands what we're dealing with in this text. And so that's what I wanted to share with you all on this website. And like I said, if you don't quite get that anywhere else on the website, I hope you get that here with this video and the series of videos underneath. Before I say goodbye and let you go, I probably should note that aside from the Faust and Hannibal videos underneath, there's also a video for Hannibal the Cannibal, as in what happens when you have a misillusion based on a changed referent, because, hey, Hannibal the Carthaginian general isn't the popular Hannibal right now, it's Hannibal Lecter. What do you do with that? And then the other video being kind of a chronology of Beauty and the Beast tales, because Phantom of the Opera at its heart is a Beauty and the Beast tale. So figuring out where it falls in that spectrum of Beauty and the Beast tales, and what does it mean to be a Beauty and the Beast tale, and what does it mean to make an allusion to Beauty and the Beast tales as a way to describe your own text, or a text that you're interacting with. So, again, I'd like to say thank you for coming to my website, and I hope you guys have fun exploring. Bye!